What's the deepest kind of knowledge, that you can ever truly seek? The kind that really connects you to something or someone in a way nothing else possibly can. There's this incredible question from Imam Hussein. It really stops you in your tracks. Oh Allah, what did he find? He who lost you. And what did he lose? He who found you. And he continues, truly, he has failed who is contented with other than you.
Wow. That's incredibly profound. It really frames the whole discussion.
Exactly. It makes you think, doesn't it? And it leads right into our question for you today. How can you actually connect with and really know the divine?
Mhm.
So this deep dive, we're exploring the knowledge, that invaluable knowledge from the Quran and authentic hadith. Specifically, we're focusing on Allah's names and attributes.
Right.
It's really an exploration into who Allah is as he's revealed himself, a unique path, you could say, to a deeper spiritual connection.
And that's exactly why this isn't just foundational. It can be truly transformational. Understanding these concepts, it's not just about memorizing lists.
No, definitely not.
It's a journey, isn't it? Both spiritual and intellectual. And it can totally reshape your faith. The sources we're looking at today, they offer these really clear pathways, illuminated paths to this kind of understanding. They guide us to recognize Allah in a way that, well, it deepens worship and brings so much clarity.
Okay, so let's unpack that journey. Where do we start? Maybe right at the foundation.
Makes sense.
The first pillar of Islam, the Shahada, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. That's the bedrock, isn't it?
Absolutely. The absolute bedrock.
Everything's built on that.
Yeah.
But to really stand firm on it, you have to know who Allah is, right? Otherwise, the foundation feels a bit, well, incomplete.
Exactly. And the Quran itself, it's described with such powerful terms precisely because it helps us with this knowing, this recognition.
How so?
Well, you probably know it's called Nair,
Light.
a radiant light for our path. And it's a shifa,
A cure for hurts.
a deep cure, healing those spiritual ailments. It's also Furqan.
The differentiator
Mm-hmm.
between truth and falsehood, what's right and wrong, and of course, Huda.
Pure guidance.
Unwavering guidance leading straight to the Creator. What's really amazing is how these roles, these descriptions of the Quran, become direct ways for us to know Allah more intimately,
Okay.
which in turn naturally leads to better worship and ultimately success,
Yeah.
both here and, in the hereafter. There's even that direct command in Surah Muhammad, verse 19, so know that there is no deity except Allah. It's an active call, isn't it? Seek this knowledge.
So if the Quran is light and healing, how does it specifically light up that path to finding Allah, like Imam Hussein asked? How does Allah reveal himself within the Quran? Because when you read it, you definitely notice.
The names.
Yes, the divine names popping up constantly, often right at the end of verses. It's like you said, a signature.
It is.
What's the significance of that constant
great.
repetition? Oh, it's incredibly significant. It's this powerful, pervasive reminder of who he is. Think of it like Allah constantly reintroducing himself, deepening our understanding with every verse practically. Like you'll often see verses ending with, indeed, Allah is forgiving and merciful. That's Surah Al-Ma'idah.
Right.
Or Allah is ever knowing and aware. That's from Surah An-Nisa.
Okay.
And indeed, your Lord is knowing and wise from Allah Sab. The sheer frequency is striking. Our sources actually mention the numbers. Let me see. Al-Rahim, the All-Merciful, about 227 times.
Wow.
Al-Rahman, the All-Compassionate, 170 times. Al-Ghafur, the Forgiver, 91 times.
That's a lot.
It really is. These names appear again and again, almost on every page. It really underlines how central they are to understanding Allah.
Yeah, those numbers definitely drive that home. It's not just casual, it's intentional, a constant reminder. And Jeffrey Lang, he has this great perspective on it. He says the names are, for Muslims, a means of turning towards God's infinite radiance.
That's beautifully put.
Yeah. Through their recollection, believers attempt to unveil and reorient their souls toward the ultimate source of all. He adds, a knowledge of them is essential if one is to comprehend the relationship between God and man. So how does understanding this radiance, this presence through his names, connect back to the absolute core principle? Tawheed, his uniqueness.
That's the crucial link. It ties directly into Tawheed, the absolute oneness, the singularity of Allah. That's the heart of Islam. Knowing these names affirms he's utterly unique, no partners, nothing comparable.
Right.
And Sheikh Yasir Qadhi, he really emphasizes this point. He says there's basically no subject of study more noble or blessed or sacred than seeking knowledge of Allah's names and attributes.
That's a powerful statement.
It is, because, he argues, this knowledge is absolutely crucial for developing that deep love, that reverence and fear, and that complete trust in Allah. Think about it, you can't really love or trust someone you don't know, can you?
True.
Well, the same applies, even more profoundly, to Allah. Knowing his names helps us fulfill that connection Imam Hussein was talking about.
That makes sense. The repetition forces us to see that divine signature, as you called it. And it's not just us noticing them. Allah himself gives these names a special title, right? Al-Asma al-Husna.
Yes, the beautiful names.
The beautiful names. It's mentioned, what, 4 times in the Quran?
That's right. Surah Al-Araf, Al-Isra, Taha, and Al-Hash.
Okay. So here's where it gets maybe a bit more technical, but really important. What exactly is the difference between a name of Allah and an attribute of Allah? This feels like a key distinction for really grasping Tawhid.
It absolutely is. And yeah, it's where the nuance really matters. Scholars have spent a lot of time clarifying this precisely because it's crucial for upholding Tawhid. So the basic idea, names are like proper nouns. Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, that's a name.
Got it.
Attributes, on the other hand, are the qualities or characteristics themselves, like the quality of mercy.
Okay. Name like a title, attribute like a description. Sort of.
Kind of, yeah. But here's the key relationship. Every name of Allah points to or involves an attribute. So the name Al-Basir, the all-seeing, it implies that Allah possesses the attribute of sight, basar.
Okay, that follows.
And this is the important bit, and not every attribute necessarily comes from a specific name among the well-known ones. For example, we know Allah speaks. That's an attribute, kalam.
Right.
But the speaker isn't typically listed among the 99 names we focus on.
I see. So the connection goes one way more strongly. Name implies attribute, but attribute doesn't always mean there's a corresponding common name.
Exactly. And names are generally seen as more complete, you could say. They encompass the attribute more fully.
Like a whole picture versus just one aspect.
Precisely. Al-Karim, the generous, embodies all aspects of generosity. An attribute might just point to the act or quality. And this also helps us understand the numbers. The 99 well-known names are well-known and listed.
Right.
But Allah's attributes, they are unlimited, infinite. We can't possibly count them all.
So that famous hadith from Abu Huraira, Allah has 99 names, and whoever preserves them will enter paradise. That doesn't mean only 99 exist.
Correct. Imam al-Nawawi explained this. The hadith means that preserving those specific 99 names is a path to paradise. It's not limiting Allah's names to just that number.
Okay.
In fact, the Prophet, peace be upon him, made supplications mentioning names that Allah has kept concealed, known only to him. So there are definitely more.
That clarifies a lot. So this distinction, name versus attribute, how does that play out in our worship, in how we interact with these concepts?
Well, it's subtle, but it matters, especially in how we call upon Allah in our dua. We use the names to address him directly. You'd say, Ya Hay, meaning, oh, the ever-living.
Right.
You wouldn't usually say, Ya Hayat, or, oh, eternal life, because Al-Hay is the proper name encompassing that attribute. You call on him using his specific names.
Okay. Direct address using the names. That makes practical sense. So let's bring this down to earth. What does all this mean for you, the listener? How can understanding these names and attributes really change your daily practice, your spiritual life? It feels like we're moving from theory to something very tangible now.
Absolutely. There's a very real application. When the hadith says preserve the names, it means more than just, memorizing a list.
Right. It's deeper than that.
Much deeper. It means understanding the meaning, truly internalizing it, and critically acting according to those meanings.
How so? Give us an example.
Okay, so if you really understand and internalize that Allah is Al-Ahad, the one, the only, well, then you won't associate anything else with him in worship. Your tawheed becomes real, practical.
Makes sense.
Or if you know Allah is Ar-Razak, the provider, the sustainer, you'll still work hard, tie your camel, as they say.
Aha, right.
But your ultimate trust for provision is in him alone. You seek from him. It also means using them actively when you pray, when you make supplication.
Like calling on the specific name relevant to your need.
Exactly. So if you're ill, you might say, "O Allah, sustainer of mankind, remove the illness, cure the disease. You are Ash-Shafi, the one who cures."
Using the name Ash-Shafi.
Yes. There is no cure except your cure. Grant a cure that leaves no illness. Or maybe during Ramadan or other times, you'd say, "O Allah, you are Alafu the pardoner, and you love to pardon, so pardon me."
It's like having specific keys for specific doors in a way. Knowing the names gives you a lens for your problems.
That's a good way to put it. If you feel overwhelmed, maybe reflecting on Al-Halim, the forbearing, or Al-Wakil, the trustee, gives a different kind of strength than just a general prayer.
And speaking of understanding Allah's oneness, Tawhid, we have to mention Surah Al-Ikhlas. It's so short, yet so fundamental in Islam.
Oh, absolutely fundamental. It's incredibly special. It was revealed, the story goes, when some people asked the Prophet, peace be upon him, to describe his Lord.
Right, they wanted a lineage, a description.
Exactly. And Allah revealed these 4 verses, confirming his absolute oneness and uniqueness in such a clear, concise way. Say, he is Allah, who is one, Allah, As-Samad, the eternal refuge.
As-Samad, what does that mean exactly?
It means the one who everyone depends on for all their needs, but he himself needs absolutely nothing. The ultimate source, the eternal refuge.
Okay.
He neither begets, nor is born, nor is there to him any equivalent. Just pure, perfect Tawheed.
And the Prophet himself said it was equivalent to.
1/3 of the Quran.
Yes.
Because it so perfectly encapsulates that core message of God's oneness.
Wow.
There's also that beautiful story from Aisha about the companion leading prayers who always finished his recitation with Surah Al-Ikhlas.
Because he loved it.
Yes. He said, because it is the description of our Rahman, the most merciful, and I love to recite it. When the Prophet heard this, he told the others to tell the man that Allah loved him because of his love for the surah.
That's amazing.
It really is. And notice, it contains 2 of the beautiful names we've been discussing. Al-Ahad, the one, the only, and As-Samad, the eternal refuge. So powerful.
Okay, but with concepts this deep, this, divine, it seems like misunderstandings could easily creep in.
They certainly can. And they have historically.
So how can you, our listener, navigate this? What are the pitfalls to avoid to keep your understanding pure?
That's a critical question because getting this wrong undermines Tawheed. One major pitfall is anthropomorphism. The Arabic term is tashbih.
Making God like man.
Essentially, yes. Equating Allah's attributes to human attributes. So Allah mentions having a hand or eyes or ascending the throne. Tashbih is saying his hand is like our hand, or his eyes are like our eyes.
Which the Quran explicitly denies, right? There is nothing like unto him.
Exactly. The correct approach is to affirm what Allah affirms about himself. Yes, he has a hand because he said so, but without saying how, bila case, and without making any comparison to creation. His hand is in a manner befitting his majesty, completely unlike ours.
So accept the attribute, reject the comparison.
Precisely. Think of it like light. You accept light exists and has properties, but you don't necessarily compare the sun's light directly to a candle's light in its essence or how. You accept Allah's attributes as uniquely his, beyond our limited grasp. The other major pitfall is the opposite, in a way. Denial or distortion. The terms are tatil and tawil.
What do those mean?
Tatil is outright denial, saying Allah doesn't really have these attributes, maybe they're just metaphors. Tawil is distortion reinterpreting the attributes to mean something completely different, often to fit human logic, like saying Allah's hand just means power or blessing.
So how do we avoid those?
The mainstream approach, that of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, is to stick firmly to what Allah and his messenger said. We affirm the attributes mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah literally, but again, bila kaif, without asking how.
Affirm the meaning, deny knowing the how.
Exactly. We affirm the reality of the attribute, like sight or hearing or mercy, as described, but we consign the knowledge of how these attributes exist with Allah back to him. It preserves his transcendence and uniqueness.
Okay, so bringing this all together, why is this study, this deep dive into the names and attributes, so incredibly vital for your faith, for your life? What's the ultimate benefit here?
Well, fundamentally, it deepens your iman, your faith. Because how can you truly believe in, love, and worship someone you don't know?
Right.
Knowing him through his names and attributes makes that faith concrete, personal. It also absolutely vitalizes your prayer, your dua.
Makes it more meaningful.
Way more meaningful. You're calling on Al-Alim, the all-knowing, or Al-Qadir, the all-powerful, with a real understanding of what that means. It makes the connection feel more direct, more sincere. And as we just discussed, it prevents those misconceptions. It grounds your understanding firmly in revelation, not human speculation.
Keeping the Tawhid pure.
Exactly. But maybe most importantly, it fosters and deepens your love for Allah. When you reflect on Ar-Rahman, Al-Wadud, the loving, Al-Karim, the generous, it just naturally nourishes your spiritual life, your connection. It's really the most direct path to truly finding Allah, like Imam Hussein said, and not being content with anything less.
What an incredible journey we've taken today, really diving deep into knowing Allah through his beautiful names and attributes. It seems so clear now how understanding these concepts isn't just academic, it can genuinely transform your relationship with Allah, deepen that connection we started with.
Absolutely.
And this knowledge, it's obviously not something you just learn once and you're done. It feels like a continuous journey, right? A noble, rewarding effort that keeps bringing you closer.
Definitely a lifelong pursuit. And
Yeah.
maybe a final thought to leave with you, connecting back to that bigger picture. Consider the infinite nature of Allah's attributes, the ones we know and the countless ones we don't, and those names he has kept concealed, known only to him. How does simply, humbly accepting what Allah has described about himself without changing it, without comparing it to creation, how does that simple acceptance actually allow you to go beyond your own limited human ideas? How does it let you achieve a purer, more profound worship, free from those human limitations? Maybe think about that. And perhaps consider which name of Allah you'd like to learn more about next. Pick one. Reflect on it. See how its meaning resonates in your own life.